So, welcome to the podcast, a bit of a piping legend. Hello to Callum Beaumont. How are you, Callum?
Good, thanks. Great. Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. Yeah, I was going to say, we've been wanting to try and get you on the show for a while, but you've been so busy, And if anything, we've hadn't had chance to reach out to you this last while because you have been so busy. How are things with yourself, first of all?
Yeah, good, thanks. But busy, as you say. Lots going on recently. Even under lockdown situations, there's been many things happening piping wise for me, which is great. All exciting stuff. So yeah, can't really complain.
That's it. So you've really continued, competing, teaching, all of that through all of this lockdown nonsense. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. It hasn't. It's not been the same level, but we've had not as much competitions. But teaching, it's been going well. I think with lockdown, people have really went, well, do you know what am I going to do with my time? What am I going to
Yeah.
try and fill some space and do all that sort of thing? So teaching wise has been quite good. Obviously, working at the school, work at Dollar Academy, so
Mhm.
we've still had lessons going there. So it hasn't really stopped. My own playing, maybe not been doing just quite as much as that. But yeah, try and push it on a wee bit now for hopefully get something later this year.
Oh, excellent stuff. Now, there is a reason why we've brought you on the show. It's because we've heard about this brand new product that you've come up with, Callum, the Bagpipe Coach. Do you want to tell us a bit about this?
Yeah, thanks. So this is something that it's really been in the work in the thought process for maybe the last year or so. It's it's I guess lockdown in itself has given me the opportunity to try and move forward with it.
Mm.
But I've always been interested in trying to find new ways of teaching. I think it's important to try and think of new ways to help people progress. And if we can manage to do that a better way, then great. I think for so long we've had the traditional style of teaching where you get your hour lesson every week or every second week, or you go to a band practice and get your lesson. So for
Yeah.
me, it's just trying to change it a little bit and give people the opportunity to feel like they were able to make goals, not just weekly, but daily.
Ah,
Um,
yeah.
so having this new website, I've got a various different numbers of packages there, but some allow people to have more of a hands-on approach, so they feel like they're getting feedback off me daily. Now that may
Yeah.
be asking a question daily, going, "There's something not right in this part of the tune," or whatever it is. Can you mind helping or listening? And it's really just trying to keep people focused and feeling like they're reaching targets or goals quicker. And
Yeah.
it's really for I think it's for all levels of piping. Like you can be someone who's just starting out and your goal is
Yeah.
to reach able to play the pipes by the end of the year,
Yeah.
or you want to be able to play at your granny's 100th birthday or do whatever. It doesn't really matter. It can be really for anything. And
Mm.
I think that's important. It's not just for top level players trying to win gold medals and all that sort of thing, or win world championships in grade
Mm.
one. It's got to allow, and it hopefully facilitates numerous people. So I hope there's a bit there for everyone if they're interested.
There you go. So it's right from grassroots, knowing nothing. That's why I lifted my hand because I'm still learning at the moment. Um, but yeah, I've already had a storied history with birds. Don't even get me started. I just can't get that finger to move. Anyway, but yeah, it is from bare bones grassroots all the way up to advanced then, Callum. Yeah.
Yeah, it really is. I think lessons are tailored for anyone. I think it doesn't matter what your goal is,
Mm.
or where you strive to be. It's important that if we can, or if I can help people get to that next step and where they want to be, that's what it's all about.
There you go. So we'll just have a quick look at the website here now. For those of you watching the YouTube video of this, this is the website. So look at that, the lymphatic photo. Oh, that's incredible. So, yeah, you get a bit of a background about yourself, Callum, obviously, and your piping history and all the rest. And if you don't know who Callum Bowman is, I don't know where you've been. You've been living in a cave somewhere, obviously. But it's what I want to ask you about is these tuition packages. Like you
Yep.
said, there's three different levels here. Do you want to talk us through these levels then?
Yeah, so it really starts off from a basic package. So really similar to what people would get just now in terms of they would turn up and have their weekly lesson.
Hmm.
I've divided lessons into 30-minute blocks or but those can be put together. They can be combined to give you an hour long lesson. It
Yeah.
was just really just to suit the individual more. But people
Mhm.
have busy lifestyles. People can only manage 30 minutes now and again. So it was really just to suit people there. So as I
Mhm.
say, the bronze one is more of a basic package, really just your simple lessons. And the usual bits and pieces with it, recordings and music. And obviously the added bonus, if there's an added bonus to people, is to get to chat with me when they like. And that's, I usually through WhatsApp, I try and do that.
Mhm.
But and then from there we have the silver package, which is just a little bit more advanced, a little bit more extra lessons.
Mhm.
And people always like the opportunity to get recordings of the lessons in the silver package. That allows you the chance to do that. So if it may be on Zoom or whatever other online application we're using,
Mhm.
that'll allow people to record the lesson, look back at it, and can see the feedback. And
Yeah.
then the gold one is slightly more advanced. Again, more lessons and into more detail in terms of your practice, looking at um, between lesson analysis. So you might send me a recording or a video of playing Scotland the Brave or whatever
Mhm.
that may be, and I can just quickly reply back just with a little bit of feedback going, here's what we want to do. So that's in between the lessons. So you feel like you're gaining more between the lesson you first have until the next lesson you've got next. And then on top of that, and this is quite an important one, I think practice schedule was something that I was very keen to try and add into to lessons. And it's amazing looking at lessons that I've taught before and speaking to a lot of people. You give people the lesson, but you never really talk about how they're going to do it at home. You almost just let them go home and hope for the best that they're doing it. So
Yeah.
for me, I've tried to put together a more structure or a bit of a plan or a structure in terms of how to practice, and that changes weekly. That's not just something that you go home and it's the same every week. It's more like a fitness coach, or you go to the gym and you go through, well, this week you're going to do the upper half of your body, and the next week you're going to do the bottom half, whatever it is,
Yeah.
sort of stuff for fitness stuff. With this, it's looking to try and just develop certain areas of your piping. So we're always working on the weaknesses to try and improve them to get to so they're not the weakness anymore, and then
Yeah.
something else is catching up with it. So that's something that I've spent quite a bit of time doing, working on that.
Mm.
On top of that, and the gold one, it gives access to monthly workshops. So that's something that I'm hoping to start fairly soon. Next week, actually, I'm going to have my first workshop, and that's something I'm going to try and do. I will be monthly, and trying to cover a wide variety of things. All people always ask questions to me all the time, or get messages going, right? How do I set my chanter up, or how do I?
Yeah. Mhm.
I'm teaching youngsters. How do I teach the youngsters? I've got a pipe band, and I'm not quite sure how to do what. And these workshops are going to hopefully facilitate a lot of that. And so yeah, that's something that I'm doing there. And then just the
Mhm.
same again, other bonuses or add-ons that are the same with other packages there.
There you go. Honestly, it's fascinating. And the thing that comes through here, Callum, honestly, for me, which is really interesting, is this free 20-minute consultation that comes with each pack. During
Yeah.
that 20-minute consultation, what are you discussing there?
Well, I think the main thing for me is it's got to be tailored for the individual. So in that 20 minutes, I would rather we discussed those details there rather than wasting time in our actual lessons
In
that
the
we're
lesson? Yeah, yeah.
so during that time, and these are the packages, but I'm not going to 100% stick to those. So if people say to me, right, I really want to add this to it, yeah, that's no problem. I can do that.
Mm.
So in that, it allows me to meet the person if I haven't met them before. It gets to know the person. We get to understand what we're trying to do, and it allows me to then tailor something towards each individual. So it really is quite important that 20 minutes, I would say, to do that.
There you go. It's fascinating, honestly. Now, you also mentioned here as part of these monthly workshops that you'll also be looking at band setup and things like that. We've got some questions from some listeners actually about band setup. And one of the big questions that comes through to ourselves is, preparing for the elements. We do have listeners playing worldwide at different climates. Is that something that you could help with this system?
Of course. Yeah, absolutely. It's difficult. I've been very fortunate enough to play in many different parts of the world and understand what it's like playing in Canada altitude or
Mm.
in some really dry climates. When I played in SFU back in the day, some of the heats that we used to play in was crazy, 40-degree heat, and trying to work that out. So yeah, it's definitely something that I can help facilitate with, and it's difficult, it's challenging, and there's ways around all of it. You've got to obviously try your just work it out and go. But yeah, absolutely something I can facilitate with.
There you go, superb. So yeah, it's probably a question that we ask most folks that come on the show. Have you got any tips or advice for beginners? Someone who's really struggling with, getting through a line of a scale, never mind playing a tune. Any words of wisdom?
Of course, a good tutor
Yeah,
is
yeah,
the key. Absolutely, and I really mean that. I think nowadays there's well, YouTube's amazing. It's absolutely amazing, but it's amazing if you use it in the right content, and you
yeah.
use the right people or know the right people to watch on that for learning basics. But for me, it's yeah, that's the number one thing. But it's just yeah, learning the scale or basic stuff at the start. The
Mhm.
tutor is the number one thing. If you don't have that, then you'll really, really, really struggle.
There you
And
go. Yeah.
it's so so important.
That's it. You need that right direction before you're thinking about playing Blue Cloud or Fiddler's Rally, any of these
Exactly.
big tunes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have to ask you then, well, some questions that we normally ask everyone here on the Big Rab Show. What has been your most memorable moment, Callum? You've had quite a storied history already in the piping scene. Is there one that sticks out to you as going, wow, that's pretty special?
Um, yeah, yeah. On a personal note, I've had a lot of. I've been very fortunate. I've been very fortunate to have won some decent, good prizes. But it's. I think for me, honestly, the biggest standout memories is from a teaching point of view. I've been very fortunate, very lucky to be part of a really successful school program over the last 6 or 7 years now.
Mm.
And for me, with my role at the school, looking after our younger ones for the novice band, that in itself is always a great. There's a great amount of pride and moments that come with that. So for me, in terms of that, it would have to be us winning the Grand Slam title in novice. I can't remember. Is it maybe 2 or 3? It must be 3 years ago
I
now.
think it was three. I'm trying to remember now. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that for me was really an amazing achievement. I thought, and I remember looking at that group. That's bad, but I remember at the start of the year going, right, what are we going to do this year? They're all new. They're all learning a March to O'Neill for the first time, and they're all trying to put it together. And
Yeah.
what we've done, it was fantastic, and they all rolled their sleeves up and got on with it. So to do that for me is one of my greatest or most proudest moment from piping.
That's fantastic. Yeah. Can I ask you then a question? You mentioned about tuition and your involvement in teaching, and that's, obviously some of your proudest moments. Can you tell us, has there ever been a moment where you've had to suddenly stop training someone in a certain way and then change? Someone from who learns through reading music to suddenly having to stop and think, "Well, maybe you can learn this by ear." Do you know what I mean? Like changing up tactics. Have you ever had to do that?
Yeah, each individual's unique. I think when you're teaching, you've got to have that approach where you do, even from a teaching point of view, you're still learning. I don't
Mm,
think you ever stop learning. So you may believe that you're teaching in a fashion that is correct, and you've used it with someone else, but you may find a couple of months down the road, you go, no, this is not going to work. So
yeah.
of course, yeah, yeah, I find that a lot. You do find that a lot where you go, well, do you know, I need to change my technique here. Let's try something else. I've been teaching someone, and it's been really quite interesting, someone with really bad focal dystonia. Um, and that's been really interesting. Yeah,
Mm,
even from my point of view, I've learned a lot through dealing with that, and it's
yeah.
very very interesting. You always learn from teaching, and it's trying to always think of new ways to be better at it. And I guess that's part of why I'm doing this website as well. But it's always just trying to find. It's so important. And from a teaching point of view, you can never feel like because you're teaching that you know it all.
Yeah.
That would be completely wrong. You've always got to try and learn. And I love studying and looking into a lot of how like football coaches deal with things, or
Yeah.
or sportsmen and women, how they go around their daily lives and how they try to prepare and perform, and even like coaching and all that sort of thing. So I think it's important to do that. So you do find new methods to deal with individuals that are maybe not on right track and be able to find other ways to make it work for them.
Do you know, you're not the only person to have brought this up on the show. We had Bruce Gandy on the show a while ago, and he talked about playing at Glenfiddich and all the rest, and he likened it to some of the top players in golf and how they prepare for the big stage to play in a big game. Is that kind of how you see kind of competing at that top level as well?
I think so. It's becoming more and more like that. I think gone are the days of we have the big party the night before it and then go up and then
Yeah.
and just get on. I think piping has turned into a real professional sport of such.
Yeah.
And for me, it has changed from pretty much when I started. I've only really ever seen it the way it is just now, but I think that's because piping and drumming, people are making a living out of it now. It is their profession. It is
Yeah.
what they do for a life, and for us, we've just taken that on board. And I guess when you start looking and analysing what other individuals do in other walks of life, you then take that on board to go, well, how can I get better? How
Mm.
can I improve myself? So, yeah, when Bruce is absolutely right, when you talk about the Glenfiddich, it's like the Masters. It's like playing the Open.
It
It's
is, yeah.
that sort of thing. You do feel like you've got to be in that right zone and prepare the same way that they do, because you want to, from a competitive point of view, you want to be as good as you possibly can be. Not even from a non-competitive point of view,
Mm.
you don't ever compete against yourself, I think, but you always want to be as good as you possibly can be. So to do that, you're obviously going to analyze and look at what other individuals do.
That's it indeed. And it's a fascinating process, you know? Yeah, definitely. So, Callum, I have to ask you then, what does the rest of the future hold for you this incoming year? We are hoping on hope that we'll see Inverary on stage. And, you know, and we're also hoping, you know, for future competitions for yourself in the solo scene. How do you see the rest of this year unfolding for yourself?
I hope I've got something. I think in many ways, from a solo point of view, I can only talk about the last 12 months of solo piping. I
Mm,
think it's been fantastic considering the circumstances. It's been amazing to watch what's went online with competitions and the support for those. How many youngsters are taking part in them and
mm,
keeping them involved, which is great. Even from my point of view, I got to compete. I was very fortunate to compete live, Glenfiddich, and then had the Alistair Gillis competition at the Piping Centre, Silver Chant at the Piping Centre. That
mhm.
was great. So I hope we're not doing that again. I would really like it to be. I would really like it to be in person,
Yeah,
but it's got to be under the right circumstances. And for me, it's important, if possible, world championships and all that. I really hope it is a world championship and that we can have our foreign bands there and we can have all our
yeah.
international guests, because it's not the same without them. And it's them that make it. To be honest with you, I feel it's them that really add a huge part to it.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
So I really hope we have a season. It would be great, but I'm not holding my breath just yet. But it's got to be under the right circumstances and it's a level playing field for everyone.
Yeah, that's it, Callum. I'm right there with you. I have everything crossed,
Yeah,
hoping
absolutely.
for the best. Yeah.
Definitely.
So we have some big Rab Show staples before I let you go. Can you tell me what has been your most embarrassing moment in piping? Has there been any one standout moment that makes you cringe?
Embarrassing.
I can see the comments coming in now, by the way. Everyone's all giving in stories.
Embarrassing moment. No, I'm not sure. I'm sure, and there'll be a lot of people covering the stories, but I can't think of anything really off the top of my head. It's a lot of memories, yes, but
Yeah.
I'm not sure about embarrassing ones.
No, that's all good. That's all good. We could throw that open to the comments.
Absolutely,
There you
damn much
go.
that's an idea.
So can we ask you then, obviously a big Rab Show staple as well. Callum, what's your favourite cheese?
Cheese.
Yes. Have you got one?
Uh, no.
No, that's
I
okay. Yeah.
do not like cheese. I do not like cheese unless it's on a burger. If it's on, so cheddar, I'll go for cheddar. There we go.
There you
I'm going to
go.
be as just a personal answer.
No, you're not alone. There's quite a lot of folks don't like cheese at all. So no, there you are. Great stuff. So, Callum, just to remind folks again, the website is bagpipecoach.com. That was
Yep.
the site you just seen here in the video or listening to on your podcast. go and have a look at it. And as I say, there's various different levels of packages available. Is there anything else you want to tell us about the website before we hit the stop button?
Well, I think that's great. As I say, if anyone has any questions, you can find me on the usual platforms, or you can send a message to the website or Facebook or wherever it is. I'm on all of them, so please be you're more than welcome to send a message or whatnot. And thanks for your interest.
No problem. If anything, I want to add that it's also for solo musicians. It's also available for bands as well. And let's face it, folks, if they do decide to open the gates again tomorrow, then we're all going to be in a bit of a panic to try and get a competition set together. So this service really could be helpful for some people, Callum, I think. Yeah. So there you go. Go and take advantage of it. Thebagpipecoach.com. Go and check it out. Callum, I have to say thank you so much for chatting to us on the podcast, mate. And hopefully we'll have you back on the show again in the future.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for having me.